Good afternoon, and welcome back to Let's Talk About It, All the Things.
Hi, Chris.
Hi, Whitney.
I was trying to get you on that one.
You did.
How was your New Year's?
It was good. How was yours?
It was good.
Yeah.
So far, kind of, for the most part.
I mean, we're 8 days in, so
Yeah.
it can't be that awful yet, I would hope.
I hope it stays this way.
Yeah, let's not.
Yeah, like everything jingles some
keys.
keys.
There's nothing wood here, but well, whatever.
I think this is wood.
Is
Anyway,
it fake wood? Whatever.
All
right, we're knocking on wood over here. So welcome to season 3, because we're fancy like that, and we have seasons.
Yes, I love it.
So we are so happy to be back. We have got already an amazing lineup of guests.
I mean, I think we're booked for next 3 months at least?
Yes. And it's very, very exciting. So we're going to be talking about all the topics and so excited. Also, just a reminder, we are doing a Facebook Live.
Yes. And I'll put the graphic up. You can find it on a Dragonfly's Wings Facebook page. It'll be the 22nd at 1 p.m. And you can ask us questions. You can tell us stories, facts, whatever you like. It's open to you guys. We are here to answer whatever we can. Again, disclaimer, we are not licensed professionals.
Correctamundo.
Did I get that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Because, we have to throw out all the attorney stuff.
Yeah.
So we're just your friends.
Yes.
We just want to talk.
Any questions you have for us, or if we can try to answer questions for you, facts that we can run off of that we might not know of, throw them our way.
So very exciting this season. I'm so stoked for what we've got coming up.
I think that's going to be really cool.
I think so too. I'm a little nervous for the Facebook Live, but it'll be fine.
Oh yeah,
it'll be fine.
It'll be just like a normal show.
As long as you guys call in, because otherwise Whitney and I are just going to be sitting here like, I don't know, playing
just
cards.
Be like,
doing nothing.
And I will say also, I don't know if you'll agree with this. If for the most part, I think any comments, questions, anything like that, we're not going to say your name on air. We'll just, say the question or fact or whatever. But we will not say your name, just out of respect for you guys.
Yeah.
So
good point. Good point. So we're gonna jump right into.
I think we should.
Okay, because this one I think already is our favorite, and we haven't even done it yet.
No, not yet. But let's do it.
Okay.
All right. So our special guest today is who?
Meg Micou from Fur Angels.
Yes.
With Yooper.
Yes.
And Yooper is our special therapy dog companion today.
Yep.
And
all right,
and I both need him. So.
Yeah. We do need him. So welcome.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for coming in.
Oh my gosh. No, my thank you needs to go to the both of you. And on behalf of Trinity, my wonderful, wonderful people that I work for giving me the flexibility to be able to come and hang out with you and talk to you about something that is very, very important in our world today. And a big shout out to the Fur Angels. Chris reached out to them and she mentioned my other therapy dog, Dr. Riker Golden, who has the PhD in fur therapy. And our deputy director, Rose Dalton, said, I couldn't think of anybody better to come and chat with you than you. So I am incredibly humbled. I am very, very honored to be able to do this. This is really, really, truly a privilege. And to the Bright and Beautiful, which is a national organization for which our Fur Angel chapter falls under their umbrella. So you can find chapters all over the United States for the Bright and Beautiful. And here in Michigan, the Fur Angels, we have our North Oakland chapter, and then we have our Downriver chapter.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. So
Yooper.
We got Yooper here. Yooper.
Yoops is.
Let's see if we can get you in front of the camera. Come here.
Here. Go.
Here. We can. All right, let's see if we can get you.
Typically, I never let them go with anybody, but he is totally bonded to Whitney.
Yooper loves Whitney.
Yoop has already given his super duper Yooper hugs and pushed his little head into her chest, and he's feeling her vibe and giving her unspoken comfort.
That definitely sums it up.
Yeah.
So we wanted to have this important conversation today about therapy animals because animals have just such an amazing instinct and a heart, and just they love so unconditionally. And whether they're actually a certified therapy animal or not, animals just they bring a sense of, I think, just comfort to human beings.
100%. And there's been studies, and one that I'm going to actually take a peek at here. I think it was in 80 or 81. The Delta Foundation did a study about the human and the animal connection, and found it to be really impactful. And people might think therapy dogs have been around just recently because of our world and because of the things that have happened, but there's documentation that go back to the Greeks where they used horses to help heal the spirits of the humans, which is crazy. And then during medieval Belgium, they put animals and people together and did their rehabilitation together, and kind of bringing it into the 20th century with good old Sigmund Freud. He brought his own dog in to help some of the nonverbal psychiatric patients that he just was not getting a breakthrough with.
I did not know that.
I learned this little nugget in some of my little research. So I thought that was really interesting. And then in the 50s, a very world-renowned child psychologist, Boris Levinson, he too had brought in his own dog with some of his youth and his children that he was treating. And with that, he had some major breakthroughs, and then did write an article for which I have not looked up yet, but I'm going to. And the article was named The Dog Co-Therapist. And I kiddingly, when I introduce Riker, it's always the PhD in for therapy, but I think he's more than earned it. And Doc Riker is not with me today. I did bring my younger therapy dog, and
now I wasn't sure if you said this. How old is he?
Now Yooper is 5.
5. Okay.
He is 5. Yep. And he was a little bit later in going to therapy dog school.
Okay.
Me personally, I think sometimes the boys, their little brains mature a little slower.
Like boy humans.
Right. And he actually was born a little bit with some special needs.
Okay.
So it took him a little longer to learn things, but he's got it, and he has a ton of love to give.
I mean, clearly.
Yeah. I mean, he just sat down. If you can't actually see him through the table, he just sat down.
And Whitney found all the right spots. Right now, Chris is rubbing behind the ear, so that's releasing what we call the happy endorphins. The endorphins that he'll be in seventh heaven. Right? I live 10 minutes from here, and he'll be sound asleep in the back seat before I even reach the driveway. So, yeah, there have been studies done, and it's really quite interesting. But they really came into the light. Actually, in the 80s, there was a nurse who saw dogs within a hospital. She was working, and she is the founder of TDI, which is Therapy Dogs International. And that's a fairly large organization. I know that, kind of ebbs and flows with applications and so forth. So our founder, Steve Calcagno, also known as the patient trainer. He sits on the board of directors for the Bright and Beautiful here in Michigan and nationally as well. He decided that, back in the late 90s, there was a need, and I'm so grateful. When Riker went to therapy dog school, we trained in Genesee County, wonderful organization. But given that I live here in Oakland County, I really wanted to serve the community for which I live. Not that we haven't gotten emergency call outs, we have, such as Michigan State. And Riker did serve Oxford High School with the tragedy a solid 11 months. And again, I thank my work, because if they had not allowed me to flex that time, I would have never been able to give. And if I can take a second to share a really important story, that
Absolutely.
it was the first day back to the school. We had gone a few times, not in the main school. They were located at kind of their transition school, or they were at the bridge. And we were actually there in the school the week before the incident. We had been called there just to give staff relief.
Oh, wow.
And little did we know that a week later, something heinous would have happened, and just absolutely unconscionable. And so that obviously was paused for several months. They knew that there was a need for therapy dogs to come. And not everybody can be a therapy dog, but you must be certified, insured, and so forth. And because they had dealt with us before, we returned. The very first day going back in, you went into the counseling office, and they said, would you please go to this room or that room? So I headed down the hallway, and I walked into the room, completely darkened. You could just see the glow of the computer screens. And the teacher walked over to me, and she kind of nudged me, and she said, "Could you kind of make your way over to the corner?" And I said, "Well, absolutely I can." And having gone over there, there was a student completely shut down, and it doesn't take an Einstein or a professional to see this. Dark glasses on, hood was over the head, noise canceling headphones, so
Yeah.
and they so wanted one of the therapy dogs to connect with this child. Riker wasn't going to give up, and he kept going up underneath the desk and kept pushing on this student. Finally, the student did get up out of the seat and walked to an open area and kind of slid down the wall. And much like how Yooper was giving you the hug, Riker did the same thing. And pretty much from that point forward, the rest of the school year, the child did not return to the main classroom. They did not mainstream back, and they stayed within the safe space. Riker was one of 5 dogs that were invited to that senior class's graduation out at Pine Knob. Again, just humbled and honored beyond. I knew the student's name, and that was it. Again, we're not licensed therapists. We have limitations, and we let pretty much the dog just do their thing and answer questions that are within the realm of appropriateness. And it wasn't until they introduced the family of one of the students who lost their life that I realized that night who the student was. And it was the younger sibling of Justin Schilling.
Oh.
Holding it together.
Oh my goodness.
And it's probably better that I did not know who this person was or the relation to the tragedy until that night. And, again, I think God has a way of working, and he's kind of funny, actually. As we were leaving, a little girl came running up to me, and she wanted to show me her insulin pump and asking me about the difference between a therapy dog and a service dog. And the mom's like, "Oh, you can't afford a service dog." And there had been a medical emergency at the concession stand. And one of my teammates said, "Oh my gosh, Meg, give me Riker, go help them." Great distraction for me. Again, I live 10 minutes from Pine Knob. By the time I hit the back door, it was an ugly cry. It was definitely that chest heaving, but very grateful for that experience and what Rye was able to do for this particular student, because they connected. I mean, he would run to them, and just, they'd hang out on the couch and have a good time.
Aw.
Yeah.
Wow.
So since you brought it up,
Mhm.
I'm just going to ask, what is the difference between a therapy animal and a service?
That is a really, really good question. And we get that a lot. A lot of people think because they see the vest that this is a service animal. A service dog is specifically trained for one individual
Okay.
to help them with daily tasks. Maybe they have a mobility issue. Maybe they have a medical condition, a seizure alert. There could be, a whole realm of things. And so those particular animals are quite expensive. They go to a much more intense training to be able to perform the specific need for that individual. We have worked with Paradise Therapy Training, and they're located kind of like Milford Fenton area. And Jack and Lori are just absolutely phenomenal. And they will work with people that are needing assistance because they're wheelchair bound, or it truly is amazing. Again, I have so many different stories. My dear friend and breeder, her daughter, graduate from U of M, there was a young man who had a horrific accident, a very freak accident, a dive off of a boat. Unfortunately, he fractured his neck and it left him a quadriplegic. And my dear friend just never even batted an eyelash. She said, I have an animal for them. So the dog was named Bo for Bo Schembeckler. And this dog was trained with Paradise. And the young man, he made it to graduation. It took years. It took a good 2 years for the dog to be trained. But he would, as a puppy, Bo would be with him while he was still a patient at U of M, and then going into the rehabilitation center and then training with him one-on-one. So
Pretty
it is
intense.
very, very intense. His mom that we have at home actually was our service dog before my husband received his gift. And she was trained as medical alert because there were times that he would have kind of a spell, a horrible coughing issue that could leave him to pass out. And the dog was trained to do legs. And she would literally go between, brace, and if he were to fall, he could, strike his head on the wall. And that dog was trained to just literally stiffen up so that if he were to go down, it would help ease the fall to the ground.
Wow.
And she would come and alert me.
Yeah.
I'm fortunate that I'm a remote employee long before COVID. And she would even be able to detect when his oxygen levels were starting to drop a little bit. And she would literally come into my office and start nudging, Mom, 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 come get Dad.
Wow.
So his mama, she didn't start out as a service dog. She started out actually as a show dog. Made it all the way to Eukanuba down in Florida.
Oh, fancy.
Yep, she did. And then when she came home and she was the love of our life, she gave us 3 beautiful litters, and a lot of her offspring are in therapy work, which I'm really, it's like, oh, my heart exploded.
Yeah. So to become like a therapy dog, what does that process look like?
Well, I think everybody that has a dog or a pet, they always think, I have a therapy dog.
I do. You therapy bunny.
I was, my rabbit, which I unfortunately lost back in April.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
This year. That I always said he was like my therapy bunny.
Absolutely. No, I 100% believe you. I think every animal has that spirit and soul that they are able to give back to you so unconditionally. Like, do we really deserve these animals? But to become a therapy dog, we do go to school.
Okay.
And like I was saying with Riker, it was a 12-week program. The first 6 weeks we did book work. The last 6 weeks we went out into the field where you're going to know, where's my dog going to fit in best? Where's his niche? Where's her niche? When Yooper was trained, I did go through the patient trainers and worked with him right out of the gate. We were in the field, and which was really impacting to him because this was all new for him. We go through many different modules that you must complete, and not every dog gets to graduate. If even prior to school, Rose and Steve will evaluate the animal. And if they're not quite ready, it's written out for you what you need to work on. Let's revisit you in a few months. If the dog is ready, let's bring you into the pack and let's start training. And that lasts for 6 weeks. And then you are graduated, and then you usually test it at Bass Pro Shop is usually where we do our testing that day. But the animals have to be desensitized to some degree to sights, sounds, movement, flashing lights. You know,
That makes sense. Yeah.
yeah. So, it could be, we'll work with a walker, a wheelchair, an IV pole. They have to be comfortable going through an automatic door. I've trained enough dogs, and I've worked with Rose and Steve quite a bit, and my dear friend and breeder, where some dogs will just literally, they put the brakes on, like, nope, not today. Like the door was Satan. I'm not going through that door. It's not happening. And so that might be a little bit of an issue if you're going in and out of a hospital, a school, where they've got the automatic doors. They need to be able to do stairs. Stairs are really important. I mean, we know that, I've seen it. I saw this poor woman trying to train her burner, and the burner had a better idea, like, I think I'm a sled dog today. And that poor woman, I think her chin hit every step going down. It was wicked bad. Stairs, we do elevator. So, they have a lot of exposure.
Okay.
They do get a lot of exposure. We do something where they have to leave food. And, when I first walked in the door today, I said, I'm letting you know, he's a little bit food motivated. In his first night of training, I was mortified, not going to lie. We were down by Oakland Mall at the Sportsman's. Hi, bud. Hi. Well, hi. Are you getting all kinds of pets? You're so lucky. And usually the trainer will pull something that's been dead in the fridge for a few days. And I think it was, I'm trying to, it might have been like General Tso's, whatever you pronounce it, dead chicken. And so she takes the lid off of the Tupperware and they lay it on the floor. And you're in an aisle. It can be kind of narrow, right? Mm-hmm. And you have to come within 3 feet of this dead food, and they have to leave it. That is really hard for most dogs.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
Oh yeah.
So I'm telling him, the pep talk, it's yucky, it's gross, don't go near it. You cannot, just don't do it. The trainer says, forward. Like, come on. And what do I say? With me. And here we go. He did not eat the food. He decided to cover it. He splooted over the container and on this polished cement floor, literally slid down the aisle. And I'm like, oh my God, it was like a live grenade or something that the dog had done this. And the trainer, literally, her face was as red as my shirt. She's laughing hysterically and she's apologizing. I know I'm not laughing at you. And I'm like, I got in the car to go home and I'm like, he's going to fail. Like immediately, he's going to fail. But that's who Steve and Rose are. And they really are true to their name as the patient trainers. They never gave up on this little guy who was born the runt and had some special needs and took, forever to learn things and had to be hand fed. They did not give up on him.
Good boy. You didn't eat
right?
that. You didn't eat.
He didn't eat the food, right?
So don't come here.
So school is important. And then you do get to graduate and then you are again tested. Everything goes through the American Kennel Club. Okay. And not only did they become, a title of a canine good citizen, I've taken Yooper 2 steps further. So he's also done his canine good citizen advanced, and he still needs to do his urban. So that's taking it 1 step further. You always want to keep them engaged, and training is really a day. You are like, he's like, I don't want you, Mom. I just want Whitney.
Yeah,
I do have a hold of you, sir.
Whitney.
you're kind of taunt there with that leash. Oh my word. Yeah.
So are there is there such a thing as like a particular breed or a better breed for therapy dogs?
It's a really good
That's a
question.
good question.
You know, and I'm a firm believer that truly any dog, including pit bulls, which do get a bad rap, I think that if given the right situation and the right training, and if they're a proven animal and they've gone through their evaluation, I think truly any dog could be a therapy dog. We have dogs as little as 3 pounds.
Oh my goodness.
It's like a little teacup Yorkie, right?
Oh goodness.
That literally can just sit and love on you. You know, up to, we have a Great Dane that does DTW. They go down to the airport and they're a therapy dog down at the airport. You know, not only do we serve the Fur Angels and Bright and Beautiful, but if we are interested in becoming a hospital volunteer through Corewell or through the DMC, I'm a volunteer with DMC Children's Hospital. You go through their program, volunteer program, and the same thing. You'll go through a training course like through the airport, and then you can become a therapy dog for the airport too, to kind of ease pain for, you know, somebody that might have a horribly delayed flight or canceled flight.
Even anxiety about flying.
That's absolutely. And even it's great because some of the flight crew, they're getting ready to board the plane and they'll stop and, you know, oh, I get my hugs and loves before they board and get ready to take off. So we really are fortunate. We get to do a lot of wonderful things. This last summer, Riker did a funeral for the first time, and that was very interesting, very different.
Did the family request?
The family
specifically
did. They
therapy
actually went
dog?
on our website and they requested it. And
Goodness.
it's sometimes it's word of mouth. And a friend of hers had seen some of our therapy dogs through a reading program at one of the libraries. And she said, you know, reach out to them. And that's how people get in touch with us, like you did.
Yeah.
You go on the website and you can put in a request. And, you know, we get so many. I mean, it is kind of overwhelming at times.
I bet you do.
And obviously, we kind of have to spread the wealth with being a team lead. You know, we've grown quite a bit in the past couple of years. We have, I think it's a good 140 plus teams now
Oh my gosh.
that are certified. I can't say that everybody is active.
That's a large number,
But if
though.
it is, and if they're members and maybe their dogs have crossed the bridge, you are still very welcome to be an associate member and come hang out with us, and maybe you'll get another therapy dog one day. So, and it comes with sadness, and I know that I briefed you too, and I'm going to do my best not to get too emotional, but my heart dog, obviously, is Dr. Riker Golden. And Dr. Riker hasn't been feeling so good, and I am putting him into retirement as of today, officially today. He will retire, and he leaves an amazing legacy.
How old is he?
He is 8. He turned 8 in May.
Okay.
And then just a year ago, you know, he was running something in the summertime called Fast Cat, even though he's a dog. But it's a sponsored sport event through American Kennel Club. And it just keeps him active. Like when the schools are done in the summertime, you know, your visits might kind of slag a little bit. So it gave him an opportunity to keep active. And, you know, once they turn 6, they're considered a senior dog. And so at age 7, Riker, well, I'm not going to lie, I had to put him on a diet.
Sorry, that was adorable.
Did he flop down?
Yeah. Hold on.
Now laying down.
I got to take a picture of this so I can.
Very sleepy.
I had to put Rye on a diet because leaving Oxford High School, I thought the best way to pay this dog was in hamburgers. And, you know, the McDonald's is like kind of close to the high school.
Yeah.
And they got to know him. I'd pull up and I go, hey, Doc Riker in the truck. And literally the ladies would have the plain hamburger hanging out the window waiting for him.
Oh.
And sometimes if we were there more than an hour, 2 hours, sometimes it was 3. I think the longest I was there because they needed him, 5 hours. That's a long time because it's a 1-to-7 ratio.
Yeah.
You know, everything in a dog's
And
life.
he's absorbing it all.
Oh,
All
absolutely.
of that
And he was
energy.
pretty down for about 2 days, just exhausted, you know, just drained. And I mean, I've worked a 17-hour shift one time, and I thought I wasn't going to walk for another year, so I can only imagine what they went through. And so I kept feeding him hamburgers, and my dear friend said, he's chonky. You have got, he is way too fat. You put him on a diet. So I did. I cut back, and I researched some foods less in calorie, and then he had to eat healthy stuff like apples and watermelon and strawberries and
which tastes good, but it's not as fun.
Right. It was not as fun, but if it had a crunch, if it was crunchy, then he was happy. Lost enough weight that when he did receive his BCAT title, he was running 22.2 miles per hour.
Wow.
Mhm.
No kidding.
I know. I was so proud. I'm like, oh, that's my boy.
That's speedy. I feel like.
Yes. And shout out to my son who designed a T-shirt that was, Team Riker, and it was Run Riker Run,
Oh
and
my God.
so you stand at the end of a 100-yard dash, and they clock these dogs. So you have somebody at the other end. Owner is at the opposite.
Okay.
And they have to go after a lure, which is essentially just like a white grocery sack tied to a rope that goes really, really fast.
Okay.
And so you're at the other end jumping, and you can't whistle them. You can't shake a toy.
Okay.
But it was get it, Riker, and so I looked like a total idiot and had no voice by the time that we were done.
That's part of the fun, I feel.
It is. It totally was. So there's lots of things for them to do. Yeah.
That's amazing.
So I don't know if this is a question that anybody can answer in this world. Clearly, most like humans, I could pick up your energy, I could pick up your energy, and I'll probably feel drained, myself picking up that energy from you.
Mm-hmm.
How can animals pick up that energy from us and somehow release it? Because they're working a lot of people.
They are, and so Whitney, awesome question. And an answer to that would be that we never overwork these animals. So we do have pretty strict guidelines, I should say, where we will only take them out on a therapy event 3 times a week.
Okay.
And typically you want to separate it, maybe every other day
or something.
Because it is awfully draining. And really we are an advocate for them. I'll give an example. I've done work out at the Flynn, which is over on the east side, and these are kids with special needs. Most are nonverbal. And again, it takes a special dog. Where I started with special needs, so it was not any sort of weird, oh my God, I need to get out of this room. But some of the dogs are like, ooh, not having this today, because it could be loud screeching, it could be movement, and they're not used to that. But he was tired, and you have to be careful. I had seen one of the students kind of go near one of the other dogs, and the finger was kind of poking near the eye, and it would have been wise for that handler to say, oh, I'm going to take him out for a few minutes. You want to protect your animal. They're doing so much work and so much service that is so needed.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I get my therapy dogs every day because I work at home. So usually I'm parallel parked. I've got one here. I don't want to back up and hit a tail right to me. Right. So I'm lucky enough that these animals get to be with us, and I think that all of us, we all come from either some sort of trauma at some point in our life. I think it'd be rare. And what one person's trauma is might not be the same as another person's trauma, but it's still trauma.
Yeah.
And so when we're able to see what they can do unspoken, and I've told many people that I've encountered that, having been in the medical field as long as I have, and I worked with moms preparing to have their babies, which is a very uncertain time.
Mhm.
And occasionally, they might get to the edge and it was really hard to get them back off the ledge. And yet I know 100% without a doubt, had I had a therapy dog with me, they would have been able to do unspoken what I couldn't do with the English language.
Hold on.
Is he nervous?
Sorry, we had a little bit of a stage fright incident here.
Yes, leave it to the the Yooper, my
all
clown.
good. He's all good.
Let that happen. Sorry.
That's all good.
Hey, we all get stage fright.
That's true. Yes.
It's all good. So Meg,
Yes, ma'am.
what are we missing? Like what? Like I don't.
Okay, so
even-
if you wanted to start help volunteering or get into a program with
Mhm.
dogs, how would they go about that?
Well, you know what? Search out, do your research.
Okay.
Definitely do your research. If you really think that you have an animal that could provide what the human soul needs, then have the dog evaluated. Look for a school that's going to be,
Real quick, does it have to be your own dog?
yes.
Okay.
And that's a really good question, because a lot of people think that we give these dogs back to somebody at nighttime.
Yeah.
But part of our bond is working with this animal and living with you. So, they've been with us since they were puppies, and they go through, more than just therapy dog school. They start with Star Puppy and then Good Manners, and we prep them. We get them ready. We get them ready to do this kind of work. And if they're not ready, they will hang on, and I know, buddy, and revisit it, and or maybe it just isn't going to work out. Like that dog is good for you and you alone, but not for a community setting. So, yeah, classes are every 6 weeks. Again, the dog is evaluated. You usually start with Good Manners, and then if they're ready, you do the therapy dog prep, and then go through graduation and certification. And then registration, that's quite a packet of paper, but it puts insurance on you. There's lots of liabilities that you need to be careful of.
Oh, yeah.
And again, I do get concerned when you see people in public that, oh, this is my service dog, or this is my therapy dog, my emotional support animal, and yet the dog is like, snarling and I'm going to bite at your knee.
Yeah.
This is a concern, especially when you're around small children. So, yeah, definitely. But there are many, many good therapy dog schools out there in Oakland County. Like I said, we've got the Fur Angels and the patient trainers that get you prepped and ready to go. Genesee County, I trained with Mid-Michigan Therapy Dogs with Riker. There's still Therapy Dog International that does training. There's Positive Changes, I believe, and they train out of Clarkston. So you just have to do your research. How big of a group do you want to be with? The one thing that I absolutely commend the Fur Angels for is that on any given day, there might be a need for up to 20, 30 teams. Now, we can't always fulfill that, but you'll never be bored, and if your dog likes a specific thing, then kind of look for those events. For some of us that still work, might be the evenings or weekends work best for us. So there's a wide range of events and opportunities, and we, our paws are open. We're ready to welcome anybody to the pack.
Can you make that a shirt? Our paws are open.
I'm working on that.
That'd be amazing.
Yes, our paws are open.
So I met you in Riker.
Yep.
At the Clarkston High School Real Talk event in October, and you were there with Riker, and there were many other therapy dogs as well, and they were very well loved on by all those teens. So if you were an organization or a school or a family who, now that I know that they do funerals, which is interesting, but I can totally support that 100%.
Yes.
How do people connect with you or an organization to get a therapy dog at their event or whatever it is they're
So
doing?
to request a team or to request visits, we do have a form, and you're going to go to the Fur Angels website,
Okay.
which I mean, you can't miss it. And you'll scroll down on the menu and it will say request a visit. And you'll just plug it in. It's a very simple form. Be specific as to what your need is. Do you need it as a one-time visit, as a recurring? How many dogs? What days are preferable? And we do try to fulfill them. Those requests come in on a daily basis. Our deputy director reviews them, and then each one of us as a member, as a team, we receive the email. Can somebody step up and be a team lead? So then we start kind of, I start poking people like, hey, I'm looking for, and again, there are certain dogs that are going to just really slot in very, very easily to certain situations. So, not again, some dogs might be a little bit, I'm not so sure about special needs schools, but I love going to visit the old ladies, that kind of thing. And so you might be better off in a senior facility. Okay. Yeah. I do Read to Pause in Clarkston, which is, I've been doing that for years, and it's such a wonderful program. So once a month we head over there. The little kids get to, they request the dogs, which is pretty funny. It's a 15-minute slot, and they pick a book and they sit down and they show them the pictures and they read. But reading skills have definitely improved. I've had, parents look at me like, what just happened? What just happened there? And I'm like, I know, it's pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I had a student, this was Riker's actually first trip out of the gate. We were at a special needs school in Lathrop Village. And it was the day before his birthday. So, goofy me, I had him in his big, happy birthday cone hat and the light up glasses. And they would bring 5 students at a time. There was a little girl who stood off to the side, and again, there could be spatial issues. There could be, yeah. So you just sit back. If they want to approach, they approach. And she started walking toward me, and she liked my sparkly lanyard. That was the first thing, and she had to show me her name tag. And then she looked at her parapro, and she signed to her that she wanted her communicator. The parapro was like, what just happened? And the parapro came over with her communicator, and she immediately went to the social page, and she started putting, I still have the pictures on my phone where she's pointing and pushing that she wanted an invitation to the party. She thought Riker needed balloons and a cake, and she wanted to give him a card. Oh. So you can imagine a brand new green newbie, right? His very first therapy visit for a little girl who hadn't used that communicator in 6 months.
Oh my God.
6 months. Got in my truck, not gonna lie. Blah! You're like, the floodgates opened. I cried because my heart literally exploded with what he did. Right?
Yeah.
And he just leaned into her, and she loved on him. That evening, the principal of that school gave me a call. She said, you have no idea what you've done. So Riker has kind of amassed a folder of all the little pictures and the notes and the thank yous from all the kids and families and adults that he has helped along the way.
Wow.
So we're going to miss him in therapy.
What a legacy, though.
Yeah, I'm very proud of him. And I do have to announce that I have a little girl that's going to be coming into our pack. Her name, her paper name, she's already been registered, is on Soaring Wings. And we're calling her Feather in honor of Rye.
Oh.
And she was born with special needs. So she's 3 3/4. She's missing a paw. She's a golden retriever. She has no idea that she's a tripod. And my son and I are going to be working on a collaboration. He'll be doing some illustrations. We're going to collaborate a children's book about it's okay to be odd. It's okay to be different.
That's amazing.
I love that.
So-
Everything about that just gave me chills.
Right.
I have pictures. I will show you later, but and I do want to share that picture of Gator finding one of your rocks. That was just absolutely amazing.
So
And listening to the podcast, I'm like, hang on a second, and I said something to my friend, and she's like, no, we've seen those rocks. And I said, that is amazing. I absolutely love it. So
that's awesome.
yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm so glad Yooper is now laying comfortably sleeping. I think Whitney and I wore him out.
Yes.
He got stage fright out of the way.
Yeah, a little
And
bit. Yeah.
now he's taking a very well earned nap. He has absorbed
Yeah.
all of Whitney and my
Yeah. I
stuff.
think that was a lot of energy for him.
I think so. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
he's
We're sorry, Yooper.
It's all good. He's
Take a
all
good
good.
nap, big guy. All right. Is there anything else that we
Just
didn't
thank
talk about?
to be given this opportunity, I can't thank you enough. Like truly from the bottom of my heart,
Ugh.
I have such gratitude for you
Well,
both.
we're just
Thank
so
you.
grateful
You know,
to
and what you two are doing. And I know I'm going to see you at Real Talk because we're working on those dates. So I'll see you in Clarkston. Been very connected with Clarkston schools, as have
Yes,
you. My cousin's son is the principal at the high school. So
Really?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
so I feel very fortunate that we're welcome to open arms. We've been to the Zen room. We work with
Yes.
AWOD and
Yes.
it's important.
It is
So,
really important. And
Yep.
I've said it a million times before, but I will say it a million more. Clarkston is really leading the way.
we just need to get everybody else on board.
We really
Yeah,
do.
we do.
We really do.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
They're doing a really good job over there.
Yeah.
So
Kudos.
yeah.
Kudos to Mr. Call.
Shout out. All right, Whitney. Anything else? Do you feel calmer now that we've literally
I do.
loved on Yooper
Yeah.
for
Do you?
an hour? Oh, I feel
Do
so
you feel a
good.
little bit better than a
Yeah.
couple hours ago?
You know,
Yeah.
and again, you asked about how do we get in touch. Now you have your support group too. Like if ever you think you need one of us to come, just pop a request in.
Okay.
We'll
Right.
come hang with y'all.
That would be
I'll
amazing.
be quiet.
I
I'll
will
put
say this because, and I forgot to tell you right before we started, because like you said, I was looking forward to the pet therapy episode.
Uh-huh.
My boss, Josh, he will say has a therapy pet, ironically somehow turned into therapy style. It's a snake.
no, yeah.
Well,
It
he
gives
wanted to
me-
bring it in.
Oh,
And I was like, yeah, we can be a part of the whole show, all this. And then I found out Chris has a fear of snakes.
Yeah, I'm
I
terrified.
mean, granted, I hate snakes as well, but
Terrified.
that's the
No,
only snake I can
get
deal
it from
with.
a distance.
No.
My bigger phobia are things with wings. Crazy enough, but yeah, I grew up on Loon Lake, and I live on Loon Lake now, and it's kind of like weird and full circle. But I am deathly afraid of birds.
Wow.
Oh yeah, no, I'll hit the dirt. You better get the AED. I'm not kidding.
I can just
I don't do well in Chicago. Like Kyle's like, Mom, the pigeons, I've gotten used to them. And I'm like,
I don't ever go to New York.
my neck disappears. I'm like, oh gosh.
Oh my god.
But there is a therapy organization called Pet a Pet. And so it isn't specifically just dogs that go out and give the therapy. I think they've had like the bearded dragon. They probably had a snake or a bunny at one time, cat, dog.
Wow.
Yeah.
Pet a pet.
Pet a
Pet a
Pet.
pet.
So you might want to
that.
get your boss, a little bit of information about that.
Maybe
Yeah.
you can do something with what's the snake's name again?
Anubis.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm terrified of snakes massively.
And again, I begin to sweat, so I get it. Like it's a real thing. It's not.
Oh yeah. It's
So I'm going to take a therapy dog any day.
I will too.
All right. Well, I want to thank you, Meg, so much for coming.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Whitney.
We love you so very much. He's amazing. So big shout out to Fur Angels. Whitney will put all of their info out on the show notes. So you can locate them if you would like to.
Yeah. Did you give your website?
Fur Angels will be www.thefurangels.com. And the same thing, the Bright and Beautiful Therapy Dogs. And again, we've got wonderful web pages that really tell you all about us. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
Very good.
Well, thank you again.
Oh my gosh.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been amazing. All right.
Oh, he popped up. Oh, can we get you in front of the camera one more time, bud? Let's see if I can just get you under the table here.
He's like, oh, I don't know, man.
Come here. Go see Whitney.
Let's see if we can get a good shot of you here.
Can everybody see him? I know if you're on Spotify, this is audio. So
I know it's
if you really want to see him, you're going to have to check him out on YouTube. We will post a picture, of course, on Spotify so you can see him. But
Just want to make sure I got you on camera.
But here he is. We love him.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I guess that's it for today. We will see you for our Facebook Live event on February 22nd
at 1 p.m.
At 1 p.m.
Yeah.
So make sure you check us out.
Yes.
All right. Everyone have a great day, and we'll catch you
On the flip side.
This podcast is presented solely for educational and entertainment purposes. We are just your friends. Whitney and I are not licensed therapists, and this podcast is not intended as a substitute for the advice of a physician, professional coach, psychotherapist, or other qualified professional.